invite the leader of the council, Councillor Harvey, to present his report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not going to take a great deal on this. Some of these things have already been referred to earlier in the questions, and some of it, of course, will come up later in the budget. But I would like to point out that under item 4, as at most cabinets held over the course of the last year, we have been gradually working to get down the gap in funding that we've had to work to this year, Mr. Mayor. It hasn't been something that's been left until today. It's been something where we got it down to quite a relatively small amount in relation to our total budget.
If you've got a fridge full.
But we've done this throughout. We've done this throughout the year, Mr. Mayor, so that we were working towards it and not left it to the very last moment. And so I'm quite happy to answer any questions on the points here, but I'm sure people won't want to repeat it when they say later on there's an open debate on the budget.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. Does any member wish to ask Councillor Harvey or other Cabinet members a question arising from the report? Oh, sorry, Councillor Trevor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is on item 5A. This is a question for the Cabinet member. He's previously told us that the years of delay in producing a borough plan are not politically motivated in any way. It's simply been beyond the Labour group so far. So if you can't produce a borough plan for the existing housing target of 7,900, was it reasonable or reckless to voluntarily increase that target to 9,900 by 2,000 more? And as he's refused public consultation before increasing the target, when does he plan to impose all these extra houses? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. You've done the working part. Councillor Harvey.
I'll answer it, Mr. Mayor, because it refers to the meetings at which I attend to represent this council. And I would merely repeat, Mr. Mayor, that there is a legal duty for this council to do so. And that, I'm sorry to repeat this, if we didn't, then that delays even further. It leads to further planning applications which are difficult to refuse. It leads to further situations where appeals are made against refusals, and it leads to vastly increased costs for this council. Mr. Mayor, this law was brought in by the very party of the people who are complaining.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Comical.
Thank you. I have several questions. I'll do them one at a time. Back on 5A, does the leader of the council understand that the duty to cooperate in this is not a duty to cooperate with anything, no matter how wrong the evidence? The evidence presented to the Shadow Economic Prosperity Board and the housing market assessments say we need 422 homes per year. The evidence previously said we needed 495. If Coventry needs to increase the number of houses put out into Warwickshire, that should be evidence-based. And does the leader understand that the duty to cooperate, which he has agreed to, isn't a duty to do anything? It's a duty to actually cooperate, and that's a two-way process.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I've only ever voted to break the law once in this council, and that was during the days of Mrs. Thatcher, when, along with most of the rest of the council, I refused to waste £50,000 on building a nuclear shelter for the leading councillors and officers, mainly on the basis that as soon as war was declared, the chief executive could shoot me. But that's the only time I have ever voted to break the law. And I am not prepared to break the law on this matter, Mr. Mayor. People need houses across the country. And I am not one of the people of the I'm all right Jack Brigade. We have to provide a plan. We have to go along with the other authorities in this area. It's a legal requirement to be able to take these houses, and we're nowhere near the sort of increases that are being proposed for some areas. And, well, I rest my case.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Like Councillor Constable, I do have several questions, but I'll do them one turn. Again, relating to item 5A, the leader of the council has said that the minutes and agenda are all publicly available for anyone to actually see and to indeed attend the meetings. However, is he aware that the only place that anyone can seem to locate the agenda items and minutes and other documentation is through the Rugby Borough Council website, which isn't in fact signposted anywhere easily? You have to do a Google search to try and find them. Will he give an undertaking in the spirit of transparency and democracy to put links onto the council's own website through the committee paper section so that everyone in Nuneaton and Besworth can indeed read those papers?
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Harvey.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, I wasn't aware of that. Can I just explain probably why they're available at Rugby? Could I just explain why they're available probably on the Rugby site? Is because, in fact, the committee is actually staffed by an officer from Rugby. They should be then linked into ours, there's no question. But at meetings of that particular committee, which I do represent this council, we move around the different authorities. And the first time we moved to this authority, it was me who insisted that we met in this council chamber, not in a committee room, hidden away as had been held in some other councils. We met in this council chamber. It was the first time, I believe, that the public actually were of this. There weren't very many, and we would have liked more. And certainly, I would encourage people to come to all of the meetings, Mr. Mayor. And I will agree with Councillor Wilson that that's a mistake, and we will see that it's put right from tomorrow.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Constable.
My next question is on item 2A, which is the Bermuda Connectivity Project. At the time, it was stated and made clear that this connectivity project would help create 4,000 jobs. We have recently had the massive project at Myra only connecting 2,000 jobs, and massive projects at Gateway connecting 10,000 jobs. Is the leader really sure that 4,000 jobs are dependent on opening the Bermuda Bridge into a housing estate?
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Harvey.
What I am sure of, Mr. Mayor, which has been stated very clearly time and time again, is that in fact that is a decision for the County Council, not this Council. We have in fact complained here about the short length of the consultation period, and because of the rules of grant funding was the only reason that part of that grant was channelled through this Council towards the County Council's scheme, Mr. Mayor. It is not our scheme, it's the County Council scheme. Councillor Kondaka is a County Councillor, and I am not, and he has far more influence over it than I do.
Thank you, Councillor. And Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, relating to item 5A, my question is to the Portfolio Holder Planning and Development. He was at Cabinet quite emphatic when challenged about this, that this report has absolutely nothing to do with the borough plan. So can he inform the council and the wider general public how on earth he's going to figure out his housing target numbers for the borough plan, which we have to work to find the housing land supply, if this report is nothing to do with it? Because the two do quite simply not make sense.
Councillor. Councillor Boyd.
The working party and ourselves will continue to work on the figures that they presented to us, and the officers of this authority at this moment in time sitting there going through what the figures are, where they need to be placed. A lot of this work will be done through the working party, as you refuse blankly to come and sit on the working party. All the information you continue to answer in this council and the questions you would have been the receipt of if you'd have sat on the working party and done that. I'm not interested in the shouting that it's secret and it's all the rest of it you do. You've done it in public and all the rest of it. It will be published. Everything we do will go into the public domain at the end when the working party is done and it's put together. So we will, with our officers, put the figures and everything together, and a plan will come out in due course. And if you actually work, see what you do, you work for your little patch. We all work for the borough, and that's what the working plan is. But you for some reason party just do not want to go anywhere other than your own patches, you might learn something if you actually come on the working party and done some work for this borough.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Compton.
Next one is item 3A, which is the Local Council Tax Support Scheme. I'm really pleased the Labour Group have now realised that the 20% charge is a massive mistake. And will the leader go along with me in saying we should have a proper consultation and a proper study of making that charge as low as possible and preferably zero?
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Harvey.
No. First of all, Mr Mayor, I answered the question very clearly earlier in the meeting. The Labour Group has not realised that Councillor Kondaka was right all along. The Labour Group, Mr Mayor, can add up that if there is 10% less in the pot to be used on council tax support, then and pensioners are exempted, then that has a knock-on effect for everybody else. Money does not grow on trees, Mr Mayor. We can only use what is available to us. We have set aside a large amount of money for a hardship fund to which people can apply, and I did say a full consultation will be carried out during the coming 12 months on this scheme for any changes that need to be made. But it will be done after careful consideration, not on the basis of Councillor Kondaka's urging us.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Again to the portfolio holder for planning, because as usual we get a load of bluff and no substance, as was evidenced by his last answer. And I make no apologies for standing up for the residents that I was voted to represent, and no one should ever do that when they are elected to this chamber to do so. But I will ask him again, because obviously we got no reply, so that everyone is on a level playing field. Can he confirm, yes or no?
Excuse me, Councillor. I thought you've got 3 questions.
I
Let's
said
go back
several
to question 2.
I said-
You indicated you wanted 3.
I said I had several questions, Mr Mayor.
Okay, well, so several is 3 to me, 2 or more. Right, you're now going over the second question, to which the portfolio holder answered. You've got a fresh question, he's asking.
He didn't answer it, Mr Mayor, but if you want a fresh question, you can have one. With regards to item 2A, the Bermuda Connectivity Project, he says that Councillor Condaccord, this is to the leader, has more influence than him over such things. Well, by my reckoning, there are several county councillors on his bench, including the leader of the Labour group. Surely that would indicate he has far more influence with the county council over such matters, because they have several votes on that chamber.
Thank you, Councillor.
Mr Mayor, I was answering a question from Councillor Kondaka, and therefore I referred to Councillor Kondaka, who is also a county councillor. I am not. Neither do I give direction. Well, I don't give direction in our group, let alone the county group, because we're a democracy, Mr Mayor. But the point is...
Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Yeah, you'll have a transcript from the video now.
Mr Mayor, the point is that county councillors make their own minds up at Shire Hall, not in this chamber. But Councillor Kondaka is actually a resident member of Shire Hall. I'm only ever there by invitation.
Thank you, Councillor. That's all questions. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item